Hi, everyone. I am Dr. Justin Golston, one of your instructors for this course, and welcome to the Certified Supply Chain Demand Planning and Forecasting Professional program. So just to give you a little bit of background on myself, I am a professor at Penn State University, as well as a visiting professor and advisory board member for the supply chain program at Georgetown University within the U.S. I also serve on a number of advisory boards, as well as committees for associations such as the International Supply Chain Education Alliance, as well as the Association of Supply Chain Management. And that comes from a number of years as a supply chain and management consultant, consulting with a number of organizations around the world on best practices from a supply chain perspective, as well as from an emerging technology perspective, including ERP applications. So we have a number of topics to go through within this course. And just to give you an overview of some of the weeks, within the first session of the first week, we're going to discuss some misconceptions of forecasting within the supply chain discipline, and we're going to talk about the realities of forecasting. We're also going to include some things that we have learned from the pandemic. In the second session, in the second week, we're going to discuss demand-driven forecasting. And the key takeaway from that week is how demand-driven forecasting is different from supply-driven forecasting. So again, we're going to use some use cases from the industry. We're going to review some takeaways and learnings from the industry over the last few years. In the third session, we're going to talk about how organizations measure forecasting performance. We're going to talk about some of the methods, some of the approaches, some of the tools that organizations can implement to measure forecasting performance. In the fourth session, we're going to discuss forecasting methods for time series data. We're going to look at the quantitative aspects of forecasting, and then we're going to go into a few models and a few simulations in that week. In the fifth session, we're going to discuss regression analysis. So we're going to kind of stay in that quantitative mindset, and then we're going to talk about or investigate some cause and effects relationships utilizing regression analysis as it pertains to supply chain forecasting. In the sixth session, we're going to go on to the qualitative aspect of forecasting, and we're going to discuss a few tools and approaches where we want to take some tools such as the Delphi approach, surveys, nominal group, and as well as other approaches and topics where we want to take the qualitative aspect, because from a forecasting perspective, we want to look at it from a mixed methods approach. So we're going to look at the quantitative aspect, we're going to look at the numbers, but then we also need to look at the qualitative aspects, and blend them together into a mixed methods approach. In the seventh session, we're going to discuss how we forecast new products, how we're going to determine the raw materials that we need for new products when we do not have that demand history. In session 8, we're going to talk about sales and operations planning, one of my favorite weeks, because a number of organizations claim that they do sales and operations planning, but it's really truly not sales and operations planning. But sales and operations planning is very powerful in that you're bringing all departments, all leaders, all decision makers of an organization together to come to a consensus in developing a forecasting plan for the organization. In the 9th week, we're going to discuss the integration of demand planning with production. So given that, accurate forecasting is so vital, to production and manufacturing. We're going to bring in demand planning and how the integration of demand planning is so important. And we're also going to delve into, the bills of materials, sub-assemblies, and things like that in terms of how we forecast, for those raw materials from a production and manufacturing perspective. And in the 10th and final session, we're going to talk about material requirements planning. We're going to talk about the tools that we can implement within ERP applications through material requirements planning, how we can explode bill of materials, how we can analyze and make better informed decisions by looking at the data within the enterprise resource planning application, as well as within the MRP application within the ERP application. So I look forward to working with you all, and until next time.